Hey everyone, welcome back to the FloTrack podcast. I'm Kevin Sully, joined by Gordon Mack. FloTrackPodcast at gmail.com is our email address. Gordon joining us from his house with an inspirational message on the blackboard behind you, Gordon. Can you read that for those who are just listening and not seeing?
It says perfect is the enemy of good. We all, sometimes we try too hard to be good. Yeah, it's good. It's not my motivational quote. It's JoJo's motivational quote. I actually had to change where I'm sitting because there was some conversation about the backdrop of what I was showing the public wasn't an appropriate backdrop. So now it looks more like I got look what I got here. These are game one of the 2001 NBA Finals against the Sixers and the Lakers.
Ooh.
I got tickets right there.
Oh,
See
very
that?
good.
Boom. And then up here, I got the we'll go like that. This is the MVP sign when they gave out. So this is game 5 of the Toronto Sixers series where they gave Allen Iverson the MVP regular season trophy. So
okay,
and it's signed by Pat Roche, who's the former owner. So good stuff.
Oh,
and then of course, if you keep on going, there's that's a
TV.
You can't tell, but it's a Prefontaine poster. Very cliche. Anyway.
Oh,
let's talk.
I had that. No, I had that. No, let's talk about this because this is more important. I had that poster in my dorm room. I still have that poster somewhere, but when I got married, all of my pre-stuff was ordered to be taken down, which was a sad day for me because I had a lot of pre-stuff in my house.
How did that conversation go?
She's like, you have a lot of posters up, ... And it was one of those where you just kind of left it hanging. And I was like, all right. We also moved a lot, and then I got really lazy putting things back up. So I folded them up. They're somewhere, but I had quite a collection. I also got not all of them, but a lot of the yearly Prefontaine classic posters, that the meat would put out.
So,
Hold on,
are you going to sell these posters?
Am I going to sell the posters? No, I got you back. Am I going to sell the posters? No, I don't think I'm going to sell them. They're collector's items. Some of the photos are really awesome. When you're talking about backdrops, though, that got me thinking. We can't all sit under beautiful oil paintings like Lincoln does when he records this podcast. He's fortunate.
Yes, no, yeah, he has a significant other who is a professional painter. Is yours, and we do not have that. So
no.
But JoJo made this quote, so I mean,
it's
she
good.
didn't make the quote.
I like
she just wrote it on a board, and then it's in permanent ink, so we can't really undo it. So.
It's frozen in time. Speaking of Lincoln, I mean, that we're running out of things to write about when he puts a 30 reasons why the treadmill is bad post up on the site. So we got that. You sent a message to the group chat. Grant Holloway was asking people for his favorite Grant Holloway lines. I think now that the Olympics have been postponed, that's where we're at in the track and field world. That's the type of things that we're going to be discussing.
Yeah, and Lincoln's article on the top 30 reasons why treadmills are awful. My question is, did he go into that article thinking I'm going to write 10 reasons? And then when did he realize all right, I got to stop? Do you think he went do you think he had another 20 he could keep gone to top 50 reasons why? Why did he do 30? That's so ambiguous number.
Okay, so if I know Lincoln and I know Lincoln, he went in with 50 and then bailed at 30. He didn't go in with 10 and then extend it. He had 100 and then he ran out of steam somewhere around 26. They were funny. People should check them out. They're each one sentence long. Sometimes they're only 2 or 3 words long. So he gets the point across. My favorite one is, why do I need to know how many calories I'm burning right now? That was a good one.
Yeah. I actually like running on a treadmill, but that's just me. And the reason why I like running on a treadmill is because I know I can be done whenever I want, and I don't have to run back home. You know what I mean? When you're on a run, you know, no matter the farther you run away, the longer the return trip is. Where here, I know there is no return trip. The return trip is just step off, and I like that. I like that peace and comfort, knowing I'm not gonna have to walk home because I'm tired.
the last time you and I saw each other together that same day, we both ran on a treadmill in Albuquerque, New Mexico, the day after indoors got canceled. And it started raining really hard outside. So we just decided to do a treadmill run instead. Then we got on a plane. We said ironic goodbyes as if we wouldn't see each other again. And then now we're like, that might be the case for a while. I want to get to the thing that you texted though. Do you have a favorite Grant Holloway line? He's provided a lot of them.
I see. Here's the thing. I feel like I should know more Grant Holloway lines because I've interviewed him a bunch of times. But there's not one I remember specifically. But if I were to associate something to Grant Holloway, it would be. I know this doesn't make any sense, but when I think of a famous Grant Holloway line, I think of a non-Grant Holloway line. I think of a line that a former NBA great said when Magic Johnson said, "I ain't gonna be here anymore." You know that meme where he's like, "I ain't gonna be here anymore," because he's about to quit his job. I imagine that is Grant Holloway when he knows he's gonna leave after junior year. And someone asks him "Hey, are you excited for senior year at Florida?" And he's thinking, "I ain't gonna be here anymore," because he's so good and he becomes a pro. But that's what I think of Grant Holloway. Right. I think of Magic Johnson.
Man,
he's
like
a Magic Johnson. Many. He has a personality like that, right?
You got a very big personality. There's so many to choose from, and like you, I feel like I've interviewed him 100 times, and I feel like I've written at least 50 articles about him. I kind of miss writing articles about people actually competing in events, so I certainly miss talking about Grant Holloway. Yeah, that one was funny when someone said, "Yeah, Daniel Roberts is going to be the man to take over next year." And I don't know who caught him with it, but it was someone like, "Well, wait a minute, you have another year of eligibility. Are you saying that you're going pro?" And he's like, "Shit, no, I'm not doing this interview anymore." And he just walked off. That was funny. Outdoors, after he broke 13 seconds and won the NCAA championship, he walked through the mix zone area and just yelled, "Eat your words." And no one knew what he was referring to or whose words it was. That was terrific. I know Lincoln nominated "I'm going to get me a fat ass glass of wine," which is what he said after Doha when he won the world title. The list goes on and on and on. This actually might be my favorite because this was the funniest to me, and it's really stupid. But we, after the first round in Doha, we asked him if the track was fast, if it felt fast. And he said, "What do you mean?" I said, "Well, a lot of people are saying this track's really quick. How did you feel?" And he said, "I didn't run." And Lincoln and I we were tired by that point because I don't even know what day it was on. We're like, "Wait, what do you just ran?" He's like, "No, I didn't run." And we're like, "All right, man, if you say so."
Was he messing with you guys?
He was basically just saying that was easy for me. That was his way of saying that was easy.
Oh.
I don't think we 100% ever understand each other, which was what always makes the interviews so great because he's making references oftentimes that are going over my head. And we're obviously, not just me and not just Lincoln, not just you, but everybody in the media is trying to come up with new, interesting questions to ask him because he has a dynamic personality. So you want to ask him fun stuff. So a lot of times there's stuff that's just lost. So I thought it was one of those times. And then when I thought back to it later, I thought, oh, well, maybe he's just basically saying that was so easy for me. It wasn't even like running, but I could be misunderstanding that too. So
I also think it's kind of great that he talks about himself in the third person on Twitter saying, what is the best Grant Holloway line? I have never in my life said, what's a great Gordon Mack quote? I've never said that to anyone or ever. And the fact that he has the power to just say that on the internet is pretty cool.
The thing that he did too which was cool and it was rare, and I guess you got to give some credit to Florida for allowing him to do it. He would talk between events in the media area. Do you remember that? In College Station, they were before the 4x4, he had already won because the long jump's usually on the first day, right? So he was done with the long jump. Yeah, so it must have been, and this was before he did the 60 and the 60 hurdles. So it must have been after he won the 60 hurdles, but before he was going to run the relay. They brought him into the mix zone, and they're like, okay. He's like, I got to go warm up, but I'll do 90. He understands. He gets it. He understands that people want to hear from him, and I think he enjoys it. And it goes both ways. So then you do this quick 90-second interview, and I think if memory serves me right, outdoors too, they brought him through. And I remember someone from Florida being like, "You have 2 minutes with Grant Holloway," and everyone just like runs over, like, "Oh, I'm gonna get my 2 minutes with Grant Holloway," because then he had to go warm up and get ready. But I appreciate the fact that he understands that he has a personality and that he shows his personality. And does he go to cliches sometimes? Sure, everybody does, but oftentimes he goes way off book and you get some actual like authentic answers, like the wine answer, which was good.
Yeah, exactly. What so we are what the this is day when do we count
Who
like
knows?
how long we've been in quarantine for? Like when did the official like we are locked down start? Because I feel like I need to keep track of like how many days I've been stuck in my house.
Well, I think like most people in the world, we measure it by how it impacts track. So once the indoor championships were canceled, to me, that's when quarantine started.
Okay,
I
so
don't.
that was what, the 14th, 13th?
Yeah, that was a Thursday. So actually, it was 2 weeks from today. So then we stayed an extra day in Albuquerque. So I guess you could say that's 13 days, and then we got back on a Saturday, maybe 12, depending on
So day
when
12?
people decided to. Yeah, 12 to 11 or 10. It depends. And you went into the office still those a couple days, so your number
Yeah,
might be
I
a little
mean,
lower, but
and if I'm being honest, I'm not really living a quarantine lifestyle, so I still go
well,
outside.
you all no. To be honest, you were always living a quarantine lifestyle. That's the
I guess that's
difference.
more true, yeah.
You're living your
But like
same lifestyle.
well, like one thing I'm seeing on the internet a lot is like people are now like talking about how their hands are really like um like
Dry.
dry. Yeah, really dry hands because
Mm-hmm.
they're overwashing them and over Purelling. And I'm like, I'm not. My hands are totally normal because I'm washing them the same
Yeah.
amount as I washed them pre-corona. Which,
I'm getting
you
better
know,
at washing them though. I've watched a lot of videos. Have you seen the videos about how surgeons wash their hands?
well, aren't you supposed to do something with like the thumbs, right?
Yeah. So we went. You go like this, right?
This is a great
And
audio
then you do the
version.
back. Well, yeah. Well, okay. So you do the front. You do the backs, right? You do the widget woo right here, where you get in between. Let me move it in front of the. There you go, like here, right? But then also you don't. You need to get the. I don't know what this part of your hand would be called. The butt, I guess, of your hand, the heel, the palm, the bottom of the palm, right there, and then you also got to go like right there as well too. So
So here's the thing, Kevin. How old are you?
I'm hopefully never going to get sick again. It's like this is my big takeaway is when this is all over, I've learned a whole bunch of things that can cut down on the amount of times I got sick. And with two young kids, I was always getting sick all the time. So I'm trying to pull any little silver lining out of this I can.
Yeah.
And that would be one of
Well,
them.
my main thing is like everyone's learning this new like 20-second, 30-second hand washing routine, but in the end, like
You got to do it
people
right, though.
made
It's
it
got to be
this
the
far.
right 30 seconds.
Yeah, people made it this far without having to wash their hands for 30 seconds every time, every 3 hours of their day. So I think people are gonna be fine, you know.
Yeah,
But
I don't wash just to wash. Like I just happen to have a 2-year-old, so I change a diaper and I'm washing, and then I
yeah, that's
go
true. That's true.
outside and I pick up a ball. Like I'm not just like, oh, it's been 2 hours, I need to go wash my hands. But if I went outside and stuff and pick stuff up, or if I went to HEB, um, then I'll do it. But yeah, we're well into the second week, no matter how you wanna grade it. So you had a good question, another good question to me about who in the track world you'd want to be quarantined with. Do you have an
Yeah,
answer
I
to that
mean,
question?
well, I was thinking because we are in quarantine times, and times call for quarantine questions, track related questions, right? And so I was
Yes.
thinking, what would be a good, thought experiment with the pod? And I thought, which track and field athlete would you most likely want to be in the quarantine with? And also, which track and field athlete would you least likely to be in quarantine with? And then we can also do it with coaches. So,
Oh, wow.
uh, so I think. Do you want to go first, or should I go first?
Well, I can go first for who I would want to be because I did put some thought into this. And if you listen to yesterday's pod, you might have had a hint there yesterday. So when I think having to spend a lot of time with a person, right? I enjoy talking, as maybe people know based on this show. I would want someone with awesome stories and the ability to talk a lot. And if we're talking about in the running world, I obviously would like people with crazy running stories. So I thought, well, who's been around a really long time in the running world to provide those crazy running stories? And my mind immediately went to Bernard Lagat. I mean, the guy's been around for decades. He knows everybody. I could just on like day 8, I could be like, all right, boom, best Kipchoge story, go. Okay, boom, best Centro story, go. It would just be endless entertainment. He is a good talker, good perspective too. He's got kids, but the man's. I mean, he raced El Garouge. And then he also raced the 2020 marathon trials. Like, how many people have raced both Hicham El Garouge and I don't know, Jared Ward, or I can't even think, whoever the youngest marathoner was out there on the start line in Atlanta. It's pretty insane.
You know, it'd be interesting to a stat that you probably will never be able to discover is most number of athletes to race in your career. Right, I know, like you get in a road, but not counting road races, because road races you race against technically 1 million people in the New York City Marathon. But like, I guess keep it a track meet only. From like high school to like your final year, how many individual people have you like raced or beaten? You know, it'll be interesting. It's impossible to figure it out, but I'm sure Lagat's probably raced at least
half the population.
I'm about to say. I'm trying to say a number. Like, he's probably raced 10,000 people, or no? Is that
10,000 people? Okay. Well, so let's just do some back. Let's just do some back of the napkin math, right? So
okay,
he's been. Now you're talking about elite people, or are you talking about like random, even small races when he was growing up?
It has to be on a track. Yeah, so high school.
Okay, it has to be on a track. Okay.
Yeah, because road races, it gets complicated.
Well, how many people do this first? How many people do you think someone races in a year?
Well, how many races are there in a year? How about that?
Okay. Well, I'll look 10? Up. So I'll look up Bernard. Well, I'll look up Bernard Lagat's 2015, just as a random sampling, and you're only talking track races, right? So I'm throwing out roads.
Track.
So he ran. Okay, so he ran in 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Looks like 13 races.
Okay, so it's right up to 15 for like the heavy years, right? And when did he start running?
Yeah. When did he start running? His first result on Tila, he ran the Kenyan National Championships in 1996. Now, that's the only result that year from Tila, but that could have just been because he was running in low-key meets. I mean, I could literally count up how many races he ran in, but I don't think that's
we're not
getting the whole
picture. That's not what we're doing. So let's say he's running 25
He's running
years
for 20.
Running.
Yeah.
So 25 years of running, and we'll say that he averaged 15. So what's 25 times 15? Track races.
Let me get out my trusty calculator here. The math people are doing this in their head. 375.
So 375 races. So multiply that by an average of 10 people per race, right?
Yeah.
So about
3,700.
So he's raced. Yeah, I was off by 10. I was off by 5, but he's probably raced 4,000 people in his lifetime.
Oh, I think it might even be higher than that, because I think the average track race is more than 10 that he's running, right?
Is it?
I mean, some of those college 5,000s he might have run and he could have had 25, 30 people. Whereas there's very few races where he ran against 5 people, right? 10 would be the low end.
I would assume 8 was like the 8 make a final. I don't know, but okay.
Well, in
12 probably.
Yeah, he's a 1,500 guy. The lowest distance he really ran was 1,500. So everything has been bigger than that. But I think you could even add up road in terms of like the elite competitors on the road too. I think that counts as well too.
But like,
how
many
he gets to add about
race at the Olympic trials.
300 people. Yeah, I know. Well, credit to him. That's awesome. He gets to add more people to his list. That's a good stat.
Well,
but do you agree?
He's raced 5,000 people. So that's 5,000 stories you got. That's a lot of stories.
That's insane. That's insane. I would just have my laptop open, and I also would do that. I would go through Tila and I would be like, yo, so in
What happened here?
2001, yeah, in 2001, you ran 326 in Brussels, but you got second running 326. Were you happy, or did that suck? You know, I just would have a lot of questions, and I feel like um, the track nerd, the track historian in me would love just to pick his brain. So that's my pick.
That's a good pick. So I think that you would think that my pick for an athlete similar to like Lagat, who'd have lots of stories, would be someone like Carl Lewis, right? And I would probably look at Carl Lewis as like the person for if I wanted to just have someone to talk about track all day with, definitely be him.
Yeah.
But I approach quarantine a little different. I'm not looking for someone to like entertain me. I'm looking at someone to kind of just keep me like
sane,
alone, and just like makes dinner but doesn't interrupt. Like I'm not expecting me to like be there like constant.
You want like a roommate?
Yeah, I want a roommate who I don't have to worry about anything. Yeah, but like a roommate.
I guess I wasn't taking.
Who doesn't? You don't even know like that when they make a meal, like you didn't even know that they use the kitchen. You know, like they just the ghost roommate, the roommate that you know you have but you never see, right? But you know.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah. So if I had to go with who's the one person who I think I would just be able to like not have to interact with much, I mean, it would probably be Galen Rupp, right? I mean, he would just do his own thing. He's not really a big social person. Maybe he is with his unique friend group, but I think outside that he's kind of keeps to himself. I would want someone who keeps to himself and not like talk my ear off. And Galen also would, tell me all of his secrets. So I'll be great. He'll be like quarantine trust. We'd be able to talk about what really happened at Oregon, what really happened with, Alberto and all that world. That would be,
wow.
I feel like there'll be a moment where we're in like day 82 of quarantine. He's going to be like, all right, here's what happened.
Okay. So you do want to talk to somebody. You do want to talk.
Yeah, I want to talk to him, but I don't want to talk to him every day about the 5,000 track stories. I just care about. I want to talk like once, like 30 minutes every 2 days.
You'd never get to use the treadmill though. That's the problem.
That is a good point because he'll use the treadmill, but it's all right.
Constantly. That's an interesting pick. I like that. I like the fact that you would develop a bond in this hypothetical situation. You'd have some trust built, and you could find out a lot. I need to be able to talk to someone. I need some social interaction, just like now. Yeah,
I would want to be around.
Well, people do know that about you. People know that you are a very introverted person. I think that's one thing that we've all gleaned from you over the years is that you just not social at all, Gordon.
No,
okay,
but I want to be around an introvert.
Okay. So
I like being surrounded by introverts. Yeah.
Gotcha. Oil and water. Okay.
Yes.
That's not where I thought you were going to go with that. That is not where I thought you were going to go with that. But I think that's an interesting explanation. Yeah. Switch it up there.
Now it's time for you to disappoint some people about who you're least likely to spend a quarantine with.
All right, so here's my full list of people I've never liked in the track world. You ready? No,
I'm ready.
I'm gonna. This is gonna be kind of a cop out because I'm not gonna name a person. Well, maybe we can come up with a person here, but I want that social interaction, so I would not gel well with a lot of these folks, these younger people out there who are just 100% into video games. I don't want to watch them play video games for 2 months or a month or however long this is going on. So I know it's very popular. I know that would a lot of people.
Can't hang out with Grant Holloway. Holloway's a video game guy.
Yeah, Holloway. I know Brianna McNeil is big into the gaming. Yeah, it's across the board. It's across events. It's across even age groups too. I'm sure there's some older people who do it, but personally, I'm not a gamer, so I wouldn't be able to play with them. And I don't really even understand. There's this whole culture around watching other people play video games, i.e., I don't even want to call it esports because the word sport is in there. But like that whole thing has always.
Whoa.
Well, I mean, come on. That whole thing has confused me, and I know kids love it. Like kids log on to YouTube and watch screen records of other people playing video games, and I do not understand it. To each his own. It's not for me. So I would not mesh well with somebody like that.
What if like you're able to like put out a rule that like, hey, this is a video game free environment? Like, is this video games the only thing that you think about like as a negative characteristic? Like, what else? I'm just trying to get you to say a person's name. So I was like, if video games didn't exist,
well, I mean, I could go. We could say Holloway. I'm fine with that. I mean, I've already sung his praises in the first part of the show, so I can balance it out with. I don't get it. I don't get any of the games. The Fortnite stuff never really interested me, and I feel like it just wouldn't be very exciting for me. Let's go outside. Let's get some fresh air when we can, right? And let's have a conversation. And I don't think they'd want to do that. So the young people, Gordon, it's all the young people. Who do you have?
Well,
Anybody?
I have a similar blanket statement about the young people.
You punted. Okay, good. You punted like I did.
I'm punting as well. But it's not video games. It would be someone who is on social media all the time. So I would just be like, yeah, they would just be reading social media tweets to me all the time and talking about their funny tweets. I guess you could say this is like a Kyle Merber indictment, maybe, but I don't know. That would be the person who I would least likely be around.
So the person that you spent the most time with during the NCAA Cross Country Championships in 2019, Kyle Merber, is the person you'd least likely to quarantine with? Is that what you're saying on this show right now, Gordon?
I guess maybe. I mean, Kyle can change, right? I don't know. I just, I remember when I was either my first or second trip to Europe. I'm not sure which one for covering for FloTrack. I was with a bunch of runners, and their day was very simple. They woke up, they did a morning, did the workout in the morning, and then they would come, and then they would eat lunch, and then they would do another run in the afternoon and then eat dinner. So that makes sense. But all the time when they weren't doing those two types of things, running and eating, they were sitting at a table or on a couch talking about tweets and talking about like, hey, man, did you see that Instagram I did? Hey, did you see who responded to this? And all the conversations were centered around social media interactions. And I was kind of like, oh, my God, I do not care. So, but yeah, I was just like, and for them, if you're a runner, the only thing, your career is running. So the only thing supplement to your career would be your brand, and your brand is about your social media. So I can understand that like they're focusing on their brand because that's how they can continue to get paid. But, hearing about, did you see who liked my photo, was not a conversation I enjoyed. So that was something.
But
yeah.
See, I thought you were going to go with somebody who's a Boston sports fan, perhaps, because you wouldn't want to hear all the Philly slander, or maybe a New York sports fan. I thought you were going to.
There's no sports.
Well, I thought you were going to go in that direction. Well, I know, but then they're like, or like a Raptors fan, like you're with Justin Knight, and every time you go into the living room, he's got the Kawhi shot on loop. Yeah, like I could see you going in that direction.
Yeah, that would be annoying.
Yeah,
that's a good point. Maybe I should. I guess I have two: the social media and anti-Philadelphia sports athletes. So that would probably be.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
Yeah, I don't know any people in the track world who are like full-blooded Houston Rockets fans, but if they were, they would be at the top of my list too. Because if I had to hear about how James Harden is just a maestro with the ball and better than Jordan, I would put my head through a window. But did you want to do coaches as well too?
Yeah, we'll do coaches. But to recap the athletes, so most likely is For me, Galen Rupp, and for you, Bernard Lagat. And then least likely for you is video game players, i.e. Grant Holloway, and mine is social media stars, i.e. Kyle Merber.
Yeah.
I think it's fair.
Okay.
I think we're showing our age, right? We're just, I just kind of want.
Well, we're also only focusing on men here for obvious reasons. I think we should put that note out there.
Should we say our female least likely?
No. Let's do coaches.
Okay, coaches.
Most and least likely. I mean, this is probably the person you're going to pick for most likely, but I'll pick them for least likely. And the guy's very interesting, just as the folks were on my athlete. But this guy, he makes you think, and I don't want to like question human existence during this time period because it could bum me out. It could really bum me out if we get some McConaughey type stuff because we're all just alone with our thoughts. And Mike Smith is a philosopher, and that's great. But I think after like a week, he might scare the hell out of me with some stuff that he says. Like he'd be like, "Hey, Kevin, so this pandemic might be cured, but what about the pandemic that we all live with on our day to day?" And I'd be like, "What?
Why are we curing that?"
Yeah, and I'd be like, "What? There's another pandemic, Mike?" He'd be like, No. I'm talking about the soul, man. I'm talking about
soul
in your soul."
mind.
Yeah, and again, it could go two completely different directions. It could be great. It could be therapeutic, but it would also have the ability to make me overthink everything, and I'm not willing to take that chance. So, no on that.
That's a good one. I see that. So you're on least. So I guess we're doing least likely.
You can go. You can start positive. Yeah.
I mean, if I had to go positive, I think my positive would be what your negative is, and I think I would most likely want to be with Mike Smith because he's a great guy.
You've already been quarantined with Mike.
I've already been kind of quarantined with him in the fall of 2019, and I think I being around him would be like a fun challenge for me to like make him laugh about his ridiculous quotes, so it would be like a fun little game. Like he comes at me with some Matthew McConaughey type shit, and I come back with like an Adam Sandler joke, and then make him break character, like trying to peel away the coolness and then show like make him have some fun. Does that make sense? Because I feel like he has to I feel like he's built up this character, and now he has to keep it, right? So now I could be like, "Hey, man, you don't need to act like that, man. You can just be a regular person who watches Impractical Jokers and eats TV dinners, and no one's gonna know. It's okay. You can be a regular American. Yeah.
Okay, can I ask a follow-up question?
Yeah.
In this scenario, do you have a camera?
No. Why?
Darn it. Okay, because I was going to ask, can you film the workout at your house with Rupp and Mike Smith?
Oh, that would be a good point. Yes, I should probably do that. I should film that. Yes. I didn't access to both of them. I didn't realize that I just chose to be part of their duo right now.
Yeah.
Maybe that. Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't even connect my most. Yeah. Yeah, I think I'll get a camera. I'll do a live stream. I'll do a live stream for everyone so people can see what a tempo run on a treadmill looks like. Yeah.
Okay, my pick for who I would want to be quarantined with. I'm borrowing some of the logic that you used for your athlete in that this person eventually would break down and start to talk and start to tell me stuff. I'm quarantining with the legendary, tight-lipped, close to the vest. The man has never revealed his cards. He may or may not have a new haircut. I'm talking about Jerry Schumacher.
Ooh, that's good.
Right?
I like that. Yeah, it doesn't reveal his cards.
By day 8, he might be like... Go ahead.
your house is gonna be like hate my house because you'll have Jerry and I'll have Rupp on my house. Like there'll be like some Montague. Was it Montague and what's the Romeo and Juliet?
Capulets and the Montagues.
Yeah, that's gonna be the Capulets and the Montagues.
But
yeah,
by
Jerry
day
would be
8,
good.
I think
Continue.
by day 8, he'd be like, "Listen, Kevin, we've been together for 8 days. There's no sign of this ending anytime soon. So I'm going to tell you things that I haven't told anybody about my coaching philosophy." And I'm like, "All right, cool. What is it?" He's like, "Okay, I'll just start with this. Sometimes before workouts, we do a thing called strides."
I really think there's
Okay,
gonna be a
what
lot of
else?
disappointment that you're gonna get. You're gonna get a lot of disappointment. You're like, so you're saying you do, yeah. I feel like a lot of coaches, when you reveal the true curtain, they're all the same. Like they all just do the same thing in a weird way. It's like Mexican food. It's all the same. They just call it different things. You have a chalupa. It's tortilla, bread, and cheese and meat. All tacos are the same, no matter what you call it. Mexican food is just meat, cheese, and bread.
And it's delicious. I'll say that for the record.
Yes.
But okay, so even if he doesn't tell me his workouts, think of all the athletes he's worked with throughout the years. I feel like I could pry away some good stories from him there, right?
Yeah,
it's a long list.
Agreed. I think here's the thing: you want to keep thinking about track in your household. You want to be talking about track with Lagat,
content, baby,
about all the history.
Content.
You want to be talking about coaching philosophies with Jerry. Where I'm like, I just want to be by myself, and I want to crack jokes with Mike Smith and not talk about track. So that's the difference.
Well, also, so like someone like Jerry, I'm sure he's a fascinating anybody who's like that. The way he deals with the media is unique, right? We can say that.
Yes.
Anybody who's taken that approach, there's got to be some interesting motivation behind it. So even if we're not talking track and I'm just finding out about what makes him tick, I think that would be really interesting because we don't know a whole lot. And you're right, maybe it's simple, maybe it's nothing too outrageous. But also he seems very like he'd be very neat too. Like that's a guy who really makes sure the common areas are clean. He's using Windex. He covers his food when he puts it in the microwave. If that's not how Jerry Schumacher is, then I have vastly misinterpreted the mental image I have of the man himself.
Like it. Now, should I do my least likely coach I would want to be with?
Sure.
I probably would choose a coach who I feel like would maybe guilt me for what I do, guilt me with my food habits. I don't want to be coached. If I'm gonna, I don't want them to be like, hey, why are you doing that? So
right.
I'm trying to think of what coach out there would frown upon my habits, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I'm thinking, and maybe this will give you more time to think about it, because I'm thinking about our other co-host Lincoln and who I would like to pair him up with. And if you remember at the 2019 Indoor Championships, Mike Holloway of Florida famously asked him to do his research and get back to him. So I'd like to see those two paired up for an extended period of time. That would be great.
Yeah.
He just wakes up every day. Lincoln, have you done your research yet? Nope, not yet. Do your research.
Maybe I could. I mean, I don't think. See, I would say someone this isn't who I'm saying, but because I don't think he's like this, but I would say maybe Ed Eyestone, right? Because he would be try to keep me structured in the Mormon way and all that stuff. But I feel like he wouldn't. I feel like he'd be
he would try to make you Mormon.
I don't think, but you think that, right? I don't know. So maybe that's not a good answer. So yeah, I think he'd be whatever, Gordon, do your thing. So I take that back.
I think he's long since given up on you, so don't worry about
that.
Given up.
He's given up on me. Yeah, that's a good point. Maybe someone who's a serious coach that's always kind of maybe a Pat Henry. who would always just like always be disappointed in me every time I like do something that like I shouldn't be doing. You know?
You want a lot of affirmation, is what you're saying.
Yeah, or no affirmation. I just don't want criticism. Yeah.
Okay.
So, well, like I feel like what's like a coach who's gonna be like? It was probably like an SEC coach, right? I mean,
SEC coach. I mean, more of a college. You're describing. You'd want a pro coach more than a college coach because you want a player's coach attitude.
Yeah.
Sounds like.
Yeah. Well, I want a coach who doesn't become a coach. I want a coach who's like, yeah, man, do what you want. You know.
Yeah.
So
well, it's sometimes I don't know that maybe that's not really a coach then. Yeah, just do whatever you want. You know.
Well, I'm not asking them to coach me. They're just happen. That's what their profession is like. You know.
Oh, do you know who's a cool? Seems like a really cool guy who would be fun. I'd add him to the fun list. Coach Leaf, Carson Warholm's coach. That guy's a trip. He is a ton of fun. So he would be. I'm trying to think international too. Like Bolt's coach always seemed like he had a great demeanor about him. Glenn Mills. That might be fun. Because Bolt's coach was used to Bolt not wanting to train, so maybe that would be perfect for you.
Yeah.
You'd be like, Gordon, do what you want. Just show up at the start line and win a gold medal, all right? You'd be like, all right, thanks, coach.
All right. That'd be good. Yeah. That's a good point.
I'm on it.
What about,
okay,
so what about, here we go. Now we're going to test our friendship. Would you rather be quarantined with Lincoln Strike or Gordon Mack? And I'll answer the same question.
Oh, Lincoln, 100%. I mean, is that even an issue?
Why would you have to be quarantined with? Why? What? What's wrong with me?
Okay, so I've already basically not been quarantined with Lincoln, but we did 12 days together in Doha, and we didn't have any issues. So I can trust that he would come through. You, after about what's the longest period of time I've been with you? 3 days?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. I need more of a track record. I need more of a resume to go off of.
Yeah, dude, Lincoln's not going to be able to talk back and forth about the NBA with you. Like he's not going to.
He has some Bulls takes. I'll defend him here. You guys would both. I'll say this. I wouldn't mind with either of you.
I appreciate that.
Now,
I was going to pick you, but now I want to change my mind. You know.
Yeah, you can pick Lincoln if you want. That's fine. This is just gonna be the Lincoln Appreciation Hour. That's fine.
There you go.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you guys both have interesting food. You both have interesting approaches to food. I'd say you're at either extreme, both of you guys.
Yes,
so that wouldn't be. Your sleeping habits now, I feel like, are more normal, but before they used to be really weird. So that's kind of a wash. Cleanliness, I'm not sure. Lincoln's clean. I mean, he usually picks up stuff. I know you guys kind of both have the same sense of humor. It's closer, but look, I'm not going to sugarcoat it just because I'm on with you today. So I will. I'll get points here for telling the brutally honest truth.
Okay.
So
well, I'll remember that when it comes down to we need to decide. You know, who do we send out to get the food from the zombies when we're
who lives or dies.
Who lives or dies.
Yeah, I'd say you're I don't know. When's the last time all of us has been? It might have been NCAA indoors last year, right? When all three of us were together, or was it? Did you go to Des Moines last year?
I went to Des Moines, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was U.S. Outdoors, but I didn't. I don't even remember. I didn't have a credential. Remember?
Oh, so we weren't even really. Yeah. So I don't even remember where we. And I don't remember where we stayed really. Oh no, yeah, I do. I can envision the house now. Yeah. I mean, I think we'd get by either way.
My highlight from USA Outdoors last year was they didn't sell any beer in the stadium, so I went across the street and I bought like 4 beers, and then I hid them in my all my pockets, and I put my jacket over it, and I snuck in 4 bottles of beer, and I had a good time. I was living life. Let me just say that I didn't have a credential, so I was just watching the meet.
Yeah,
so.
That's what I was gonna say. Let me just reiterate that you did not have a credential, just in case there's any confusion.
Yeah.
we got a couple emails I wanted to read here before we go. Is that cool?
Yeah. What's the email address again?
FloTrackPodcast@gmail.com. Obviously, you can watch the stream if you'd like. You can see Gordon's uh, inspirational quotes on FloTrack.com, but you also can subscribe to the podcast, take it with you on your runs or wherever you go. Apple, Stitcher, Spotify, Google, et cetera, et cetera. Lynn wrote in. She says her opinion is Semenya won't be competitive on a world-class level in the 200. Impressed that she's already improved, but I can't see her running any faster than maybe a second from that. So basically, doesn't see how she gets faster than, into the high to mid 22s. She's only got to run 22.8 though to make the Olympics, and I feel like we talked about this before, right? That would be success for Semenya, just making the Olympics.
Yeah, but would it be like it's success? But is it though? Like she's going from like flirting with world records and winning medals to like a like participation award. You know, like
Yes, it is
is it
success
going to
because
be?
that wasn't her decision.
Yeah, I guess yeah.
And
I guess
ask
yeah.
yourself how
It's
many times. Go ahead.
yeah. I guess her first round, whether she gets knocked down the first round, it's still going to be like you can't get rid of me. I get yeah. I take it back. I take it
Yeah,
back.
I got an article hopefully coming up today on the site about all the things that I'm missing. I'm gonna miss about 2020, right? And one of them is Semenya because look, this wasn't her choice. She got pushed into this, but what she could have accomplished this year, or what she might get to accomplish next year, and she could still do it next year, is unprecedented. Who's won a gold medal in a middle distance event and then made the Olympics in the sprints? Who showed that sort of range ever in history?
Yeah, no one.
Right?
Yeah, that's a good point.
I mean, if there's somebody who did it in 1908, please email us. I know we got a lot of track historians that listen, FloTrackPodcast@gmail.com. Let me know. But like, in a way, it's almost more impressive. She goes and wins another gold medal. Okay, great, cool. Been there, done that. This is just showing the absurd range here that she has. The fact that you could make a team in a 200 and also be a competitive 1500 meter runner. Like that's nuts, right? Even if there's not a chance she makes the final, I get that, but that's still nuts.
That's a good point. Yeah, that like little line on the resume makes it that much more special. So yeah, I agree. That would be cool.
Okay, here's one from Ryan. You'll like this question because it's the things that get you interested, and I'm not explaining this to you because you don't know yourself, but I'm explaining this to you because other people need to know, is like the triple bank shot hypothetical weird situation that comes up. Oh, what if X happens to Y and then Y spins and pivots to Z? That's the things that gets Gordon's mind going. So Ryan has a similar one here. He says, "Hey, Kevin,
Okay,
Lincoln, and Gordon, I'm a huge fan of the show, and I had thoughts while listening today. So as you were talking about the Let's Run article, talking about who gains the most from this delay, neither of you guys said it. It is actually Tyreek Hill. I know his Olympic dreams seem like a stretch, but are they really with this extra year? With the uncertainty of sports going forward, could the NFL be the next league to shut down? This would give Hill the ability to train for over a year, not only building on the speed he has, but more importantly, perfecting his starts and sprint mechanics. If the NFL is canceled, it would also give him the ability to cut weight he would need in order to be in top sprint shape. And as you said about the limited resources at the time, he could most likely find himself a place to train, as he will make more in the next 2 years than Christian Coleman has made throughout his career. Just don't sleep on Tyreek Hill going into Tokyo 2021. What about that crazy theory?
Well, I like the theory. I think it's crazy because I don't think the NFL is going to get shut down. Uh, you
Right,
know,
but that's never the original premise has never stopped your mind from traveling to weird places.
no, I
So
like that. It is a good point because like 2 years, and he's like still like in the prime of his like physical conditioning, like age wise and like body wise. So it's not like he's like at the end of his prime. So yeah, I think if you give Tyreek Hill like a full 2 years of just like training, he has the talent to be a top three guy, especially with, you know, you think, obviously, Lyles and Coleman, they're on the team, right? So it's that third
yeah,
spot. I mean, it's going to be Tyreek Hill versus how old is Mike Rogers now? 30-something yeyears old. And Justin Gallen's a grandfather, and then it's Ronnie Baker, who still has yet to get the standard. I think that could happen, and that would be great. And it also, though, would it be good or bad for the sport?
Well, I'll answer that question in 1 second. Let me pause because my computer is running out of battery. This is one of the cool parts of quarantine. You're going to get to see me, Kevin Selly, go get my power charger. I'll be right back while you mull that question, Gordon. Go.
Yeah, so I'll say the idea of whether or not it would be a good thing or bad thing. Obviously, the good part is that if Tyreek Hill makes an Olympic team, the good is the exposure the sport gets because you have an NFL player. People are more going to talk about it. Mainstream media are going to give it more attention because a NFL player is on an Olympic team. But would it be bad in that it would then cue the idea that an NFL player can just show up and be world class in the sprint, which isn't true. Tyreek Hill is an anomaly. You don't take Saquon Barkley is an all-time great running back right now, but he's not going to lick the shoes of any current sprinter in college or in the pros. So it's like, do you take the mainstream attention in exchange for the perception of anyone can do it? I don't know. Or should we not even care about perception?
I'm glad
Who cares?
I got my
clicks are clicks, right?
I'm glad I got back on this. Yeah, I'm glad I got back on before I missed the licking the shoe part. That was really vivid imagery that I really drove home your point. So I appreciate that one. Okay, putting aside, and this is a big putting aside because it's a part of Tyreek Hill's story, all of his off the field legal issues.
Yes.
So a lot of people, a lot of people would say non-starter from the beginning because of what he's done. But just say for a moment, who doesn't have that baggage, but they're attempting this same thing. So I'll just say, would a football player going and trying to make the Olympic team in this situation, who had the same credentials as him, would that be a good thing or bad thing for track? I think it would cause an exponential increase in attention in the event. Would it further the argument that any any football player can just put on a pair of spikes and run 10 flat? Yes. But Gordon, aren't those people already convinced anyway? Right? Aren't those people already out there thinking that there are people out there that think Bowling ran faster than Bolt last year.
Yeah.
So I think those people already lost.
Yeah. That's a good point. Yeah. Why are we trying to live in a perfect, like I said, perfect opinion of track and field that just it might as well just take what you can get. And I guess, yeah, it would be cool, especially Tyreek Hill, if he were to do that, it'd be like, imagine being a Super Bowl champion and an Olympic champion. I'd be just like, that's never happened. I mean, he's not going to win the Olympics, but in that world where that's a great crossover. Super Bowl and Olympics. You have NBA champion and Olympic champion because that's a sport that works. But Super Bowl and Olympic champion, that's a weird thing. It should be kind of cool.
It's like one person doing what the Richards Ross crew did there with Sonya and Aaron Ross getting the Super Bowl and the Olympic title. Is the quote behind, is that, I know I should know this, is that permanent or is that just written in chalk?
I think it's written in a marker that's permanent. It's not...
Okay, so you can't change it.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
Okay, I was just wondering if tomorrow you're going to change the quote. Like, are you going to change the quote every day, like Woody Page?
Well, maybe I should. I could put a piece of paper on here and just change it up. Someone can send an email of what they want to put on here, and I can put it on there.
And you could refer back to it during the middle of the show, and you're like, "Look, Kevin, like Michael Scott said when he was quoting Wayne Gretzky, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take." Now,
yes.
Back to the race walk.
Speaking of shots, let's talk about the race walk. I I agree that the negative of like, oh, people can think track and field is easy. That perception already exists. Where they, yeah, like you said, they think bowling is faster than Bolt because that's a good tweet. So I get it makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. I just think, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I mean it's not going to happen, but I respect the ability of the hypothetical here, and yeah, thanks for the emails again. FloTrackPodcast@gmail.com is the email address. I'm checking right now to see if there's any stories we've missed so far today, Gordon. Of course, once we get done recording, there will probably be something, but who knows?
There's not going to be stories, man. It's quarantine life. Stories are done. The Olympics is over. Now we just wait till 2021 or until someone tests positive for either steroids or COVID.
Yeah. Well, that was a big, I know some people have been talking about it in the track world, but that was a big story that didn't get covered that much in terms of Olympic postponement. Is all the drug testing has been dramatically reduced because of this too. So if you went ahead with Tokyo, I saw some quote where they said, "Oh, it's going to be the dirtiest Olympics on record because drug testers weren't able to get around to where they were." Again, not the first reason why they postponed the Olympics, but certainly a key side effect. So tomorrow the plan is to have a guest. I'm not going to reveal the guest's name because I want to make sure everything works first before I say that, and I don't want people to be disappointed. But it is a guest, and let's just say hypothetically, this person is the person Gordon wants to quarantine with. Just kidding. It's not. It's not. Sorry, that's a joke. That was a joke. That was a joke.
Yeah, but it's an athlete, so. It's a runner.
It is, yes. We've narrowed it down.
We're a track and field podcast, so we are having a runner on the pod, which makes sense. So.
Breaking news from Gordon, Mack, and myself. Okay, that'll do it for this edition of the FloTrack Podcast. FloTrackPodcast@gmail.com. Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play is where you can find the show. Stick to the site. We have the Houston series running all week. That's featured. Speed City, a season with Carl Lewis, Leroy Burrell, Gordon Mack, and Kamari Montgomery. I think, is that the subtitle of it or the second title?
Yes, that's the subtitle. I'm the third most important person in the series. Yeah.
Yeah, check that out. Lincoln's treadmill article I really liked. It looks like everything I'm sad about in 2020 will go up today too. So people can read stuff, watch stuff. It's all there. Thank you to Ilan and Efren for handling the video for today's show. Really appreciate it. And thank you, Gordon.
Yeah, we'll see you guys tomorrow.